All right, welcome to the Fort Scott City Hall Commission meeting, November 1st, 2022. We're going to start out with a flag salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please bow your heads. Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for the city and the citizens that live in it. Thank you for our military, our first responders, the children and their safety. Thank you so much for their safety during Halloween last night. Thank you so much for the volunteers of the town, the people that really want to move our city forward, and our city employees that all work so hard to try and make our lives better. Please watch over all of us and protect us. Help us grow our city and move it in the right direction, always keeping what's right first and foremost in front of our minds and our actions, and continue to bless Fort Scott and its citizens. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
First item on our agenda is the consent agenda.
Just one quick question. I don't believe it is. I looked at it, but the LG Barkus and Sons, that is a separate item on the additional work. So this is not inclusive of that. Correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Josh Jones,
Yes.
Tim Van Hookey,
Yes.
Matthew Wells,
Yes.
Katie Harrington.
Yes. Did we have anyone sign up for public comment, Lisa? Sorry. First, citizen comment, Lindsay Hill.
Hello, everyone. How are you?
Good. How are you?
My name is Lindsay Hill. I am here on behalf of Smallville Athletics. We are putting on our second annual Veterans Day 5K run and 10K challenge on Saturday, November 12th, starting at 8 a.m. Part of the proceeds will go to the VFW Hall. We're just wanting to give your blessing. Our route will start at our gym, go by the movie theater, down by Martian's Deli. We'll go across National by Shirt Shack, take a left, and then go down through the National Cemetery and then back. We do have spotters at Margrave and at National Street to make sure that we keep our runners safe. And we do have a 10K challenge that same day, which includes the 5K run, a 1.8K row, and a 5K bike. Would just like your blessing for that once again.
And you don't need anything from the city as far as barricades or anything?
We do not. We're not going to lock off any streets permanently. It's just going to be a temporary break for our runners to go through, and then traffic will go back.
I'd move to approve the request for the Smallville CrossFit for the Veterans Day run.
Second.
Okay. Josh Jones,
Yes.
Tim Van Hookey,
Yes.
Matthew Wells,
Yes.
Katie Harrington.
Yes. Can you tell us what times
Yes, it starts at 8 a.m.
on Friday? No, Saturday. Sorry. Registration time?
You can register all. It's on a page. If you go to Smallville Athletics homepage, there is a place where you can sign up on that. We do expect quite a few out-of-town runners to be here this year, so.
Cool.
Just needed more info. Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
I noticed the path doesn't go past Daylight Donuts.
It does not. It doesn't mean we might not have some there, though. Thank you.
Thank you. Sarah Mackey.
it has been brought to my attention that okay, so I live 20 South Main Street in the Union Loft building. Our front benches were taken away to, I guess, curb the smoking on Main Street, and I've been told that you guys are proposing a draft or an ordinance to outlaw smoking or ban smoking on Main Street, which, you know what, that's fine. But you guys wanted affordable housing downtown. You got affordable housing downtown, and then every time you turn around, you're complaining about the housing downtown, the people in that. We've worked with you on the parking, and now you're telling us we can't sit in front of our own building that we pay rent for. We spend money downtown. We've got little old ladies that want to enjoy the scenery, and I know that there's a complaint about cigarette butts. Everybody's got a bad apple, and I'll agree to that. But there's no reason that we need to continue to be picked on because of some Karen or some Kyle that doesn't like the residents being there. We spend more money downtown than most people do just in rent alone. We deserve to have at least a bench to sit in front of our building. We are sick and tired of the bullying, the poking at, whatever it is that comes from you guys. It's stupid. It's dumb. It is unnecessary. Every time someone comes in, turns around, you know, we've been accused of trashing the pavilion. We don't go to the pavilion. There are bigger things in this town that you guys need to be concerned about than some little old lady that is sitting in a bench minding her own business. We've got drug deals going downtown. Nobody cares about that. But you guys are more concerned about these stupid benches. And that's all I got to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you for coming in and thank you for your comments, and also thank you for being a part of our downtown. Just a couple of things real quick is you know, I know some of the residents that live in those two buildings down there, and actually some of those residents that live there have come to me complaining about the front of the building. I know that there's people, like we had a Halloween parade this weekend with 600-700 kids coming by. And I also know that the city management had talked to
Rachel?
the building owner down there about the problem, and with the Kansas statute that actually outlaws butt cans or smoking within 10 feet of an access point to a building. Way back when the Western Life building first came up, I know they had established that a smoking area was behind. And you're right, maybe some of these people sitting on those benches weren't smoking. And it is bad when some people spoil it for others. But I walk down there every night with my dogs, and those butt cans were usually full that were sitting out there. So, you know, and I do think, like I said, I don't begrudge anybody that smokes. I know it's a habit. And I'm glad it's one that I never had, but I hope this was really eliminating an issue that was that the city had tried to address, but there was no change. So hopefully you don't feel it's a personal attack, because it's actually not.
I don't feel it's a personal attack, but I think you guys are spending more time picking out little things that these people are doing downtown than other things that need to be addressed. And as far as smoking is concerned, yeah, it's a disgusting habit. And I also smoke too. I have no problem admitting to that. But, you know, it's better to have those butt cans filled away from the door than them on the ground. You know, we clean up after ourselves for the most part. And, you know, people walk downtown and flick their cigarette butts too. We have no control over that.
Yeah. Well, I certainly appreciate you coming in and voicing your concerns and your comments. Keep one thing in mind, though, there's also other people that have been voicing their concerns and comments about the smoking. and the butt cans out in
You know
front.
what?
So
We
you
can
can't-
smoke in the back. All I want is a bench. So our bench back.
Have
Okay.
you looked in the back today?
Yeah.
When did you do that? Did you see the picnic area?
The
and
picnic area?
and
Yeah.
the bench? So
Well, the
there's
picnic
your
areas-
area to sit.
Okay, so we're not asking. You didn't even give us the same bench. You gave us a rusty one. Okay, and then the picnic
It's
area.
the same bench that was in front of the area there. We just moved it to the back.
No,
There's
sir.
2 benches back there plus a picnic table. I've talked to Rachel. We've agreed to what we're going to work on. We're also working on something else that's going to accommodate the tenants. That's what we agreed to do.
Have you talked to the landlord? Have you talked to Rachel?
Oh, I did talk to Rachel. That's why I came down here. We discuss these things quite often.
She's saying Rachel sent you down here?
No, Rachel didn't send me down here. I sent me down here.
Okay.
That's the difference. But I did communicate to Rachel, and I do know those communications happen. And I'm telling you, as a person who lives downtown, you want us to smoke in the back, we'll smoke in the back. But the bench thing is ridiculous.
What type of bench do you want? We also added a picnic table because we were told you.
No, the picnic table is behind Fort Scott Lofts. Okay. All I'm asking is to bring that bench back in front of the Union Lofts so some of our older residents can enjoy the benefits of downtown.
As long as the smoking is monitored, that's perfect.
Yeah, who's going to police the smoking and another butt can coming out there? And like I said, I'm downtown every night.
And I live downtown and I'm there every night too. I mean, I can tell the residents that, hey, let's start smoking in the back so we can have that bench back. Okay? That's my compromise.
I'll give it to Rachel tomorrow.
Okay, thanks, Brad. Thank you very much.
Do we have a representative from the Lake Board?
No, we had I attended on well, you did too. I attended my first Lake Advisory Board on Zoom, and they agreed that they didn't need to send an individual each time. Is that? I'll let you.
Yeah, as of right now, that's the agreement that we have. They believe that we'll be able to communicate this stuff efficiently and turn it over to staff and start moving forward on some of these items. One item that they have requested be added to the next agenda is that ordinance that everyone got a copy of at the last meeting about changing the location of the stamp on the boats so that the Lake Patrol can see who is licensed and who is not. And so if y'all need a new copy of that ordinance, it was handed to you at the last meeting. I'd like us to bring that before the board at the next meeting and get that voted on for the lake people.
Old business, the change order number 1, LG. This is the one for the $19,466.03. Review the itemized bill requested.
I did not see any itemization or any indication.
All I seen was this.
Yeah, we asked for a list of everything that they had accomplished and done so that we could see that. And
I had a list.
Yeah, ours did not come with a list.
We have an email saying Michael attaches a complete change order for the next commission meeting, but then there was a note attached
Nothing
change order.
after it.
Okay, there was an email. Where's my engineer here? Weren't you engaged? Were you back?
Jason,
Yeah.
No, that was the other engineer.
I think it was the
That was
HDR folks.
Yeah.
Oh, it was HDR. Well,
Yeah.
anyway, I don't know what happened because I have a
I can run and make copies.
yeah, I don't know what happened to your packet. I apologize for that, but there's a detailed deal of everything that occurred,
Well-
and I'm not sure. I'm not sure that is it.
Well, my question on this is he's saying, I mean, if you look at the original change order number 1 that's dated 10/11, I'm trying to find in the first contract. I mean, he talks about this $100,000 allowance in here for unanticipated field adjustments, of which, you know, he does the math on that and comes back and says, so you guys have like $80,000 left because this is what this cost. But this says it's part of the change order. I'm not seeing that in the original contract
No.
or a copy of the original contract where the city said, yes, you have this allowance of $100,000 for unanticipated field adjustments.
No, the original change order, the paperwork that I was provided showed that it was signed off on September, early part of September.
But this change order in here that I'm looking at now is dated 10/11/2022.
Yes.
Yep.
That's what
Oh.
it is.
That's not.
Yeah. That's that. Yes, that, you're correct. Those are the items that were provided in here.
Yes.
But okay. We asked for a breakdown on the work that was completed, what they did, how many Gibeon baskets, what kind of rock was used, actual work that they did.
So do you have a copy of the original order?
The original sign off, yes, I have.
And did it have this $100,000 allowance
No,
for
it's-
The
unanticipated?
original one does.
The original
I
one
read
does?
it when we had it. It had a owner's allowance of $100,000.
Yeah.
So used if necessary.
I mean, he still should have come to us
Right.
ahead of time for approval, but I think if that's in the original contract,
My only concern is,
did he actually do it?
or was this above and beyond the original contract?
Yeah.
Because they bid it in that road,
Right.
but they're saying they needed extra. So I just wanted to see how much extra they used, because
Correct.
I know some of the people doing the work down there, and they thought 19,000 seemed extraordinary.
Yeah,
little much.
19,000.
A little much for what was done.
And so that's why I just wanted
Yeah.
to see how many.
My issue was
Rock
that the original change order was signed off on a full month before it was brought to us.
Yeah.
And approved before it was brought to the
That
commission.
is a concern,
So
absolutely.
4 weeks, basically. And at any time, and then we could have had a special meeting, looked it over beforehand, so we wouldn't have this situation that we're in now.
Because I
Go ahead.
believe Michael Mick said he didn't approve it too, didn't he? Didn't we say during the meeting?
He originally said that, but according to the paperwork, Michael signed off on it.
We did not approve. Brad,
He came to me with the PO and had the change order, and I looked it over and said it was over my signing limit and told him we could not do it. And he said that it would stop production. And after some thinking, I said, no, I can't. I still can't do it without approval by the committee. So after he went back down, I'm not sure what communications went on. I just know the work was already either done or was about done.
Yeah, I remember the engineer last time saying the company did it on their own. Yes. And so, which I don't think we have a problem paying it. I just wanted to
I'd like to know what we paid for.
Right. I mean, because if we don't check the owner's allowance on this, anybody can just come in and say,
What you paid for were the extra, I don't know what they're called.
Gideon
Some kind
baskets.
of
Gideon baskets.
and riffraff. Yeah.
Right.
Right there's a major expense.
Yeah. My only thing was how much was bidded originally and how much over did itemized show.
Because he said he was going to be able, the gentleman who was here last time
Could
said he
break
was
it
going to be
down.
able
Yes,
to get us
break it
a
down more.
breakdown of everything that was done, how much rock was used, how many additional baskets, how many truckloads were brought in. That's
Yes, he
that's
did.
what he had said he was going to provide us.
yes, he did.
Okay.
I was searching
Yes,
for
sir.
an email from. Okay.
Which this is change order number 1.
Yeah.
It shows, but it still is not.
Do you see any? This one. We haven't got it. Okay. Well, if you want,
Move to table.
Yeah, go ahead.
Move to table this item until we get the correct information on itemized list
of the work
work
that was
that
done.
was
Yes, sir.
completed.
And I don't know how I missed that. I'm sorry.
Need
Okay.
a second.
Second.
Sorry.
I'm sorry, who's the second? Yeah.
Josh did.
Josh Jones,
Yes.
Tim Van Hookey,
Yes.
Matthew Wells,
Yes.
Katie Harrington.
Yes. Next item on the, is consideration of agreement with Baker Tilly for financial services.
Madam Mayor,
Mhm.
members of the commission, I'll speak to this. If you want. Were you going to say something else? I'm sorry. Okay, I'll dive in there. Since I've been here, I've communicated the possibility of contracting out our finance director position, and at the last meeting, you had a presentation from Jack and Ben, and I believe you had a kind of a summary of who the players were and where they have worked. I was unaware, even though I now am with that company. I was not aware until that Baker Tilly was doing this type of work of contracting out financial services, and a little bit I'll turn it over to Ben. So as we communicate, we worked out an agreement from a standpoint, and that agreement is in front of you. There is highlighted, it's broken out, we made some modifications. We broke it out in two sections. And I also added on part one, which Ben can talk about what he will do if engaged in this. That calls for a $5,000 a month amount to have an outside to perform the role of an interim finance director. And then the second, which down the way, and by the way, we can get out of that at any time, but we are moving towards the end of the year. We need to do budget amendments. I had previously talked to Susan about this, about working with us. As you know, she's given her resignation. That's 30 days, but we're in all hopes that we can work together as we move through this. I also included that they'd assist in the development of a finance director job description for advertisement. The second phase is a long-term comprehensive financial plan. And I've communicated to you in the past that I think that's where the council should be. First of all, we need good reporting for you and the public so that it's easily understood. And secondly, we need to have bigger picture, because cash flow is, and you've got some policies, I think Susan has communicated some of those that have been adopted. So unless you have questions of me, I'll just turn it over to Ben. The contract speaks for itself. Ben?
Yeah, so thank you for letting me get back up here again tonight. As Jeff had said, two parts to this. The first part, under the retained services, what we intended to cover there is just any routine functions for the month. And that includes remote or on-site, doesn't really matter. What you really get out of that is financial reporting that we just would continue based on what Susan's been doing. With her 30 days, we would transition any questions or procedures that she's used, just transition that right over to us. Should you approve the agreement itself, since it's so late in the year, we would start looking at a forecast immediately. I know she's presented one already. We're going to probably pick up from what she said or she has and take a look at that and move forward. That would be our goal, to get back to you at least by the first part of December with that forecast, if not sooner. That's going to be more of an immediate item. And the forecast is also obviously based on cash flow for the end of the year. And then what does that look like going into 2023? Because you set a budget in Kansas, and it's unfortunate you set a budget based on activity that happens in April or May. So we need to take another look at 23 to see if it still holds true with what the projections were. And then, of course, at the end of the year, the audit will start, or we'll start getting ready for the audit and making sure some of the work papers are available for the auditors.
Since you
That's
said
all
audit,
inclusive.
can I,
Go ahead.
on none of the scope of description, where is the audit that fits into this?
We warrant the auditors. That'll be somebody else that does that.
Okay, but do you audit those books
No.
at
We
any
get them ready-
time?
No, we get them
Okay.
ready for the auditors.
Okay.
We'll review them, and as we go through our reporting process, we'll look for any irregularities that come to us, just like the finance director would any other time. We'd use those same processes. The audit looks at a completely different level, a higher level than what we would look at as part of your finance director team. That's a good question.
Well, and kind of along those lines, I'm looking at one of the items here. In the event Baker Tilly is requested by the client or required by government regulation, subpoena, or other legal process to produce our engagement working papers or its personnel as witnesses with respect to its services rendered for the client, so long as Baker Tilly is not a party to the proceeding in which the information is sought. So it's kind of like we'll show up and we'll give them what we have, but we're not taking any of the blame if something's wrong. Am I reading that incorrectly?
Those are attorney language. I would have to defer to our legal counsel.
Bob?
Am I reading that wrong?
Definitely have to turn it over to
Yeah.
our legal counsel.
They're responsible for everything that they do. I think what the language is indicating was if we have done something wrong and they get subpoenaed to testify or whatever, they're not admitting that they're responsible for what we did wrong. In other words, if they did something wrong, they're responsible.
Absolutely.
But they're not going to assume our liability. Those are two separate issues. So it's kind of like the auditor. The auditor is your checks and balance. That person checks what they do to determine if it's appropriate statutorily and whether there's violations.
So the first part of the part one is just the retainer. Well, there is additional cost, correct, for the part two of this?
Right, that's correct.
And it would not exceed $18,000?
Right. That's
How did you come up with that number?
It's based on the number of hours and experience we've got with putting this type of work together for entities about the size of Fort Scott. Typically, it runs anywhere from 26 to 27,000, and because Jeff's already involved with Fort Scott, and then already starting to get our arms around it, it makes it a lot easier to do what we need to do to give you guys a forecast, a long-term forecast, and looking for a long-term plan. If something completely unaware, you guys are unaware, or we were unaware, we would obviously bring that right back to Jeff before we proceeded with anything, and before we incurred any cost on your part.
And you notice that's a trigger. We say go ahead with item 2 at our decision to do that. I personally want them on board to see how we're doing. I do personally think that is a good service, and down the road, say we're getting into January or something, that would be a very good thing for us to look at our long-range planning on cash.
I understand that, but $23,000 in 1 month is.
Well,
if we exceed that, that is a huge amount of money in 1 month's time.
yeah, if we did that,
Correct.
and I'm not, I'm not going to pull that trigger unless we all want to pull that trigger, because that is a contractual basis. But there are two particular triggers. One is the $5,000. Later on, if we decide to do the long range planning, we can say go ahead and do that. And looking at the cost, and you've seen reports from Susan before, there have been salary savings because we have not had a finance, and I talked to her about this. We have not had a finance director, and that calculated out to about $7,500 a month if we had somebody on board full time.
And along those lines, though, I mean, we're not actively pursuing a finance director at this point.
Well,
There's not a job posting out there for it. There's not, and not to, I know what the city and its public information was paying Susan for her services, and on average, this is about 10 times higher per
Well,
month.
That's true. And I don't know that we can get another Susan. Susan's terminated, and I don't know that we could get anybody to, maybe we could, to close out the books on a monthly basis, but a finance director provides more. There are some other provisions. I think it's incumbent upon me or your next city manager or whoever that you provide training and mentoring for our city staff. School, though, find out their strengths and weaknesses. And I added the deal of develop a job description based upon that analysis that they would have, and then we could get that out there and advertise for a finance director. There may be some internal candidates that could do that. I don't know. I do know, as I told you before, the most important thing that we need to do is get a handle on our end of the month, end of the year, the budget, get ready so we know where we're at, what's happening at the end of this year, get ready for the audit. And I think on the second phase that we should then move towards some long-range financial planning.
I think this offers more than what Susan was doing. I think this offers more about what Susan was doing when she was working full time for the city at 80-some thousand a year. So I think this is actually cheaper than what we were paying the last finance director, because there's stuff on here that Susan, budget preparation assistance. I mean, that was after and there wasn't much, and there was just some other things that this provides that Susan currently did not provide at that rate.
Yeah, and again, knowing what we're at for the end of the year, what we're trying to save, as well as the fact as I'd like to see why aren't we actively seeking a city finance director? And along those same lines, I mean, I'd also like to see, I don't know the opinion of the other commission, don't get me wrong, Jeff's doing a great job. I enjoy working with Jeff. Brad has really stepped up to the plate and is doing a good job, but I'm also concerned we haven't advertised for a city manager yet anywhere either. So I think we're kind of putting, with this, we're putting in, you guys, I know the company I work for, you can't throw a rock in without hitting a finance guy. I know the importance of finance guys. If you walked in this huge building and threw a rock, I would probably hit 3 of them. I know the importance of it, and I understand the importance of this service. But my concern is it seems like we focused to this point a little bit more on the interim stuff as far as going after finding permanent replacements with a sense of urgency, in my opinion. And that's just my opinion. But we need to be out there looking for a city manager. We need to be out there looking for a city finance manager.
Yes.
And I don't want us to become too comfortable with this, that we continue to spend, like I said, 10 times more than what we were spending. Granted, and if it wasn't all the services these guys can do, Josh, I understand that, but it still amounts to 10 times more per month.
Well,
on average
I
than what
don't
we're
think,
paying.
and real quick, I don't think, so are you saying average, or are you saying put out for a finance director at $30,000 a year?
No.
Because this is $60,000 a year, but a finance director is going to be a lot more than that. So you keep saying 10 times more, but a finance director is going to be twice this.
But a finance manager is going to be a city employee, and he's going to be here every day of the week.
And keep in mind,
Right, but it's also,
I know what you're saying about it, about how much we were paying Susan, but we were also paying at least 1 or 2 other individuals here at the city who were doing additional work along those lines. So it wasn't just Susan.
Yeah, but we're still paying those people.
no, there's
No,
one less.
those people have been
There's
moved
one
to
less
different
from when I
positions.
first started.
Right. From when
So-
you first started, but I
Yeah.
mean, this year,
Up
Yeah.
till now.
it's the same.
From my understanding, from what I was looking at budgetarily, we've been paying about $7,800 a month for a finance director. Once we factor in the capers and all of that, so $5,000 is what we'd be paying these guys. So
That's
that would
if
show
they-
us a monthly savings of
The
$2,800.
last
a
finance
month.
director all in was about 100 to 110,000
Okay.
a year. So
You're right.
Okay.
You've
So
got
if,
more
if we're going to
detail.
spend this much money, I think we need to bid it out for other individual companies that want to do this because we can't. We got to give the opportunities. We bid out for every
we
other.
didn't bid out for Jeff. We didn't bid out for interim city manager.
If I might, and that's fine. I mean, you hired me as an interim to give you the best advice that I possibly can. I personally think that the financial situation, we don't have enough information to put a job description together because we haven't analyzed stuff. I've got experience in finance. These gentlemen have experience in finance. It is incumbent upon when you go out to get the right person with the right knowledge in that position. Likewise, and as you noted in my city manager report, we don't have enough, you all as a city have enough information to know what you are going to go out for a city manager. And if you just put out an advertisement without you as a total council working together as a team to determine those factors, you're destined to fail, in my humble opinion. The bidding out, I was unaware of, I was with a different company before October 1. I was unaware that these services are provided because of the fact that it is hard to find finance directors, city managers, other things because of the job, the demographics. You're looking at contracting out, or you're looking at interims, or what have you. I just became aware of them recently, and I am not. I feel so strongly that it's in the best interest of the city to examine our finances and get information to be as transparent and for you to make accurate decisions without, details fine, but you've got to look at the bigger and broader picture. I feel so strongly about engaging them and for the good of Fort Scott that I'm willing to make a modification in my contract and cut back my services if money is an issue. But to answer your question, I'm not aware of other people that are getting into that type of business of, as an example, if you know what happened to Branson, they came in and did it for Branson and went through the transition. It was a mess. They lost their city manager. So I ramble a lot, but this is in the best interest of Fort Scott, and I think it's in the best interest for you to be able to make good decisions in the future.
Mr. Hart, is this a monthly contract?
It's at the pleasure of the commission.
Okay.
It could be a week contract. I mean, our job is to work ourselves out of a job.
Yes, sir.
And if you post a finance director tomorrow and we give you that job description to run with, it's based on what we've seen in the past. Heck, what I've worked on off of that same job description. We would come in and help interview, for that matter, that job description, that those applicants and go through them. It's our job to make sure that the city, and we serve this commission from a fiduciary standpoint, you guys are stable and continue as you look for that finance director. And the point isn't to keep us employed. The point is to make sure we've got a bridge between now and that new finance director. And for that matter, actually help that finance director team up with them on the backside. So as soon as you hire somebody, our services stop, but they continue to rely on us for answers.
Didn't-
That's really the goal of what we do.
Yes, sir.
We do that across the board. It was not our intent to replace anybody.
Didn't we? Weren't we seeking finance director before? Didn't we interview some? I think we all set in on some interviews. Didn't
We did.
So we had.
For 2 months, and we had 5 applicants. I brought in 3 of them. You interviewed 2 or 3 of those, 2 of them at least.
Well, one of them actually applied for another position, and then he was considered for the finance director position.
So, one of them you really liked, and I remember Pat.
So you,
said, "Go ahead."
beside Branson, what other Kansas towns have you guys?
We do.
It was in your package, but I don't have it in front of me anymore. I'm sorry.
We do City of Baldwin City, Kansas, Baser City, Kansas. We do Harrisonville, Missouri, and we do Sedalia, Missouri. We do Grandview, Missouri, and then Green Valley.
Are there? Do you have? I mean, are any of your end users that you're supporting right now? I mean, are they adverse? Can you provide references if we wanted to give them a call?
Absolutely.
I mean, I
Absolutely.
mean, believe it or not, in the pharmaceutical world and stuff like that now, it's crazy. It's like you go in and you bid on something, and they go, "Give us 3 references."
Absolutely. We provide proposals all the time. That doesn't stop us from giving you references. You name it, we'll give it to you. That is not a problem.
But I would like to to me, comparatively to Fort Scott,
These towns are bigger.
I'd like to talk to like Baldwin City. I'd like to talk to like
our size.
about our size and
Harrisonville.
into Baser, if that would be okay.
Absolutely.
I
can give
mean,
you
like I
both
said, I'm
numbers.
not completely adverse to this. We're just trying to be good stewards of the program and understanding where we're at now, where it's going to go. But at the same token, I would like to see this begin to mirror with some sense of urgency, finding that finance director, finding that city manager. Not that we're all not going to miss Jeff and he's not going to miss us.
Right.
I mean, horribly.
But
Horribly.
One benefit that Baker Tilly will bring to the table is they're going to give us a write-up on how to reach out and find a finance director. I know, like Brad already said, I had already made a motion that we move forward and hire the previous guy, but that decision was overruled and we're moving in a different direction. We're in a position right now where, from my understanding, we have to have something happen fairly quickly.
Is it too late if we vote on this at our next meeting?
That's completely up to you guys.
And what I'd like to do, like I said, if I can get some references, I'd like to.
I don't
call
think 2 weeks is going to make. I mean, it looks a little bit tighter, but personally, looking at finance, I don't think it's going to make. It's not going to put us.
See, I'm actually trying to lean
Absolutely.
towards this option, but
I mean, I agree with
again,
you and Katie both. I mean, Jason's in here too, but even on engineer and everything, I always think we should have an
Couple
open
options.
open thing.
Yeah.
For full-time on-staff engineers. Same with finance. Same with. Because you never know. I doubt we find one, but
yeah, I'm not calling anybody out that was a previous city employee by name, but sometimes you wish you would have maybe talked to people where that person came from. A little bit
Right.
more in depth.
No,
before.
and I'm perfectly happy doing that. I'm happy with reaching out and seeing if there's any other companies we want to get a bid from. But we need to keep in mind right now that we need something moving forward.
We do, but again,
The
this added expense, I would like the option, and if you can give me like Baldwin City and Baser, Harrisonville, just 2 out of the 3.
Jeff will have all 3 of them tomorrow morning.
I'll be happy to reach out to him. I'm the nicest guy in the world to talk to, but I'll get the straight information out of them.
Absolutely.
And this program is a savings over what we have been paying for finance. I understand you're seeing it as
There's 2
$5,000.
things, if I might, there's 2 things that are important to move quickly on. So that's fine. That's a double check. It is $5,000 within the limit, but one is we've lost our finance person immediately right now. And so there's no one capable of closing out the books right now.
Well, I thought she gave us 30 days.
Yeah.
What I mean is it's 30 days to the end of this month. Yes. And one of my hope was that with her background and knowledge, they could work together in this last 30 days. That's one.
I know December is going to be big for budget amendments. Last year, that was a big thing for us. So.
Yeah. And the other thing is, I don't look for them to be long term. I kind of envision a 3-month, situation. That's what I look at. So
Well, for that matter, Jeff, I mean, if you can give me the contact names and anybody else that wants them,
yeah, that's fine.
I'm all for if next Monday we need to have a special meeting to vote on it. Once everyone's had an opportunity to ask their questions, then we've saved almost 2 weeks and we can start quicker if it's approved.
Okay, that
Are you guys good with that?
would be fine, or we can wait 2 weeks. I
Well-
mean, 2 weeks isn't going to kill us.
Well, I mean, as soon as it's nothing to call a special meeting if we need to. So, but
Yeah, it's
2
not.
weeks, so yeah, so I'd say if you can get us the information to contact them, or
Yeah.
if you can just relay back, or if you want to call one, or Matt wants to call one, Katie, and then relay back.
Oh, I'm going to
whatever.
call everybody they send to me. Everyone else will do the same. Because like I said, if
I would especially
anything,
like the Baldwin one because I will actually be up there visiting. So
well, and like I said, I know what questions to ask. I swear to God, you couldn't throw a rock in this place I used to work without hitting a finance guy. So please,
Absolutely.
and like I said, if everyone can get it done by Friday and can do a special meeting on Monday to vote on it, I'm more than happy to be there for that.
In the interim, will you just take a look and see if there's any other companies that offer this kind of?
who are
Because
your,
one of
Who is one of your competitors?
who are your
Yeah,
competitors?
who are your competitors?
I know Burbage and Trahan is one of them, but I'm not sure if they do it anymore. They at what 5 years ago they did it. They're out of Topeka, and I know they're going to be more expensive with this,
right?
but that's one of the competitors. One.
Yeah.
And,
Do you have other towns you've bid on and lost out to another company?
actually, we usually get assigned these jobs
Because
through the bids for our bond services.
Oh,
Just because
yeah.
the conversation comes up. The ones I've bid on in the past, pre-Baker Tilly, included Burbage, Trahan, Allen Gibbs, Hulig, some of the other bigger firms within town. There's also a big firm in Oklahoma that does it. I'm not sure if they come up this far, but they're the one in Oklahoma.
No, and I want to phrase this by saying I like everything that I'm seeing.
Absolutely.
One of the complaints that we have had in the past when we have done some of these decisions, not particularly this commission, but previous commissions, is that we have not gotten multiple bids on things and we've taken a one shot, one kill. So I would like just to see on our due diligence, can we get a quote from 2 other
Yeah.
companies? And they're obviously going to be astronomical compared to this.
well,
but at least we need to take a look.
and just clarification, one, you were talking about financial manager or
Yeah,
that's a different. There's
the folks that are in this position now, the ones that actually do the work, typically are accounting people, and that's all they do is accounting. So they're going to do a fraction of what's here, and that can be done by anybody. Accounting can be done pretty much by anybody that's got the trade for accounting.
Mhm.
What they won't do, from my experience, is forecasting, budget amendments, budget monitoring. There's a number of different. They'll get you ready for your audit, not a problem, hands down. There's a lot. All these firms can do that. That's not a problem. The other thing, and I'm not trying to sell us, you evaluate us against anybody else. I'm going to tell you that they're not going to have the experience that we do have. Hopefully you find that. You talk to anybody, ask them the oddest questions that we give you the reference, the oddest off the wall questions, and they'll give you the right answer. I'm not saying the right answer for us, the right answer for you. I encourage you to talk to these individuals. I've sat in your seat for 15 years in a prior life. I know exactly what you're going through.
Okay.
I've gotten raked over the coals for not having RFPs. So I absolutely understand where you're coming from.
and just point of clarification, the difference. I'm not between a bid and request for qualifications. And generally, when you've gotten into engineering or services, you do a request for qualifications.
Yeah,
And
there's a difference between an RFQ and an RFP.
and engineers have changed this kind, but then if you were doing an RFQ, you send it out, and then they would submit it, and then you would interview all of them, and then rank them, and then negotiate a price. So there's a difference between. So you don't take bids many times on professional services. It's a little bit different. But I appreciate your due diligence, and he'll provide the names, and we'll get them out to you. And
That would be great.
yeah, great. And then we'll go from there. Either we'll have it on the 15th, or we might have something sooner.
Because if it goes south and citizens start to complain, I'm going to give your customer contacts for the citizens to call over in Baldwin City. Go call this guy.
And the other question, real quick, all those other cities, do you ever go over your monthly stipend or whatever?
No.
So you-
Ever. No, we don't do that. In fact, we've used more cost to cover them and never billed them, and that's not our practice. What we bid is what we give you is what our cost is. If the cost is $7,500, you're getting billed $5. That's it. That's what our cost is. Other firms don't do that either.
Okay.
And Branson would be one of your stories of the great work that you did. You came in, you fixed it, you got somebody new and walked
Let me
away.
know who you want.
Right,
give
yeah.
you- I'll give you
Matthew's
all-
just looking for an excuse to go to Branson for the Christmas lights
They'll take you too.
on exploratory tour.
The lights are fuel commissioner trip.
Yeah. He'll probably expense the city for it.
You get paid for this job?
No.
You can expense for
You
this
can
job?
use Bob's account.
Oh.
They'll double your pay.
I'll take your copies.
Sure.
Yeah.
Good,
And then, yeah. And then if you'll get those, just email those to me, and I'll get them out.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Vince.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir. We
Thank you
appreciate
so
you
much.
coming down here, and I'm really excited to get to talk to the folks, and I appreciate your openness and to any questions we have.
You betcha, that's what we do. Anything else that comes up, just let me know.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, make sure when you send us the city's contacts, include his on there as well, just in an email.
His contact.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
You'll have myself on them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Great. Thank you.
New business, consideration for approval of a parade permit for the Fort Scott Christmas Parade on December 1st, 22.
Yep.
This is through the chamber.
Yep, I've looked it over. It's the same route. I'd move that we approve the consideration of approval for the parade permit for the Christmas parade on December 1st.
Second.
Josh Jones,
Yes.
Tim Van Hookey,
Yes.
Matthew Wells,
Yes.
Katie Harrington.
Yes. Next item is the consideration of 60-day time extension for the city urgent need project. I do have a question on that one.
I did too.
Are they going to allow for 60 days past this year?
Oh, you mean if it
Into
crosses
20,
over?
it would.
Yeah, I believe that's usually the case. Yes, their fiscal year. I mean, I can double check, but their fiscal year is different than a calendar year.
And the
But-
big holdup is that the subcontractor is not getting the information filled out or provided.
Yeah,
So that the
and-
grant can
and-
be closed out.
It's been my understanding it's a tough project anyway, and it's important that CDBG is a very unique thing, and you have to prove, and they've delegated. Back in the old days, the feds used to do it. Now they delegate to the state, and that with the feds overlooking, and if you have trouble with one, it messes your ability to get others. So that's why we need this extension. And the mayor would sign the letter.
Yay.
So we would recommend you approve the extension.
A motion that we approve the extension for 60 days.
Well, it's Mid-Continental, I'm assuming, is going after these guys hard to make sure that they get the subcontractors. That
I don't
we
know.
get this, and
I don't.
and Katie
I
doesn't
don't
go to
know
jail.
all. I don't know all the details.
Yeah.
I don't know all the details.
Brad, do you know anything about this?
Jason, you're in the email chain.
Yeah.
You know specifically what's missing by chance? I mean, I know
Yeah,
that
specifically the subcontractor for Midco
Yeah.
is just, I don't, whether they don't understand the requirements or haven't done it before. All that paperwork with wages and all that background stuff is what they're trying to get from this subcontractor. So I don't know what they need other than if Midco knows how to do it. My expectation is that they can walk through it with their sub and get the paperwork. But that's what I would do.
Okay. Well, I'd
But
second
that's
the
all it
motion.
is. It's just $3,000
Yeah.
worth of work. But I agree with Jeff. You know, you want to get that all lined up, and
Yeah.
it's easy to get an extension.
Well,
Doesn't
I'd
go
second the
wrong.
motion to approve the extension request.
Josh Jones.
Yes.
Tim Van Hookey.
Yes.
Matthew Wells.
Yes.
Katie Harrington.
Makes me super nervous to sign this thing, but yeah. Yes. Request. Next item on the agenda is the consideration amendment number 1, Fort Scott Go Car Wash MEP plan.
And Jason,
Review.
you and I talked about this, Jason, beforehand because it was a little confusing to me because there was a second document in here that had totaled like 4,000. No, the new one's 4,000. The other one was 750 because both documents are titled Fort Scott Go Car Wash with 2 different dates on it. Your explanation is it's not just the car wash, but it's also Price Chopper. It's also the Moody Building and some
Yes.
other items that are in on the second one for the higher price at $4,000.
Yeah, so the original agreement was for $750, which was specific to the Go Car Wash MEP plans, and I think I also did site civil stuff. But with additional items that came through, we've already looked at the CHC and the Price Chopper building, and then the questions about the Moody building. So I called it an addendum because it's the same type of service. And what I've done is the added scope of work is just saying review of additional products and give recommendations for those projects, which covers. So basically, moving forward, like I said, we've basically already done the review for CHC and their building. I've gotten pictures and looked at the Moody building, but I need to do a report, I think. So that would fall under there as well. And that's why, because before we just had my codes guy was going to be billable, and I would support as the city engineer. But as we get deeper into doing stuff like a building that may need some repairs, you know, we want to get you a report and provide recommendations, and that would cover that.
Okay.
And it was, I don't know, after talking to Tim, not thinking about it, I should have maybe just done a whole separate
Yeah, because the
agreement,
confusing
but-
thing was the first few paragraphs of it read exactly the same when they both say it's for Go Car Wash. So I'm thinking, look at Jason trying to slip another one in here. but
So I just
but we
wanted
know
to
it's not true. You do a great
clarify,
job
yeah.
for us.
The original contract was specific
Yeah.
to that job, and now we're expanding it to other similar types of work.
Yeah, I would recommend next time instead of both of them saying addendum 1 Fort Scott Go Car Wash MEP plan review that we title the second one differently. Because once you explain the other structures that were involved, it made sense. So I would move to approve the amendment to Earl's Engineering for services provided in the amount of fee of $4,000.
Second.
Josh Jones.
Yes.
Tim Van Hookey.
Yes.
Matthew Wells.
Yes.
Katie Harrington.
Yes.
Thank you.
City manager comments.
Each time I provide you written information, and I would encourage you to read that information, and in the future I'm used to a situation where you receive other reports. So I just wanted to highlight some things. for both you and the public. First of all, just to follow up, there was a question about laptops, and we've checked into that. We can get laptops for you. I don't know what kind they are, but we can get that for about $6,000. I know Tim's got one, but we could do that. We need to look at that. If a goal would be to have something for you, maybe in January, and have that for you. I went to the Lake Advisory meeting. I thought that was very productive. I enjoyed that. I learned a lot. But then from time to time, I think this is why you engage my services, is my experience of 47 years. But I wanted to highlight some of the things that I want to communicate. One is one of the weaknesses in our organization is that we do not have, we used to, when I was here before, a community development director. And by that I mean, or someone to go to that understands the plan, understands if a developer comes in, how to make something happen to walk that. And we don't have that. I've been in some situations where the city manager has that background, but it is something that we've lost. I've noticed that we've increased the codes, which is good because we were deficit in our code situation, but that's one area that we don't have. Then you mentioned the situation about the city manager. And I think it's incumbent upon you as a team to go through some exercise to determine what you need as a city manager, what traits, what things, what qualities. And if, you know, in my humble opinion, just putting out an ad doesn't do it unless you know what you're looking for. And sitting down and taking some time to go through that would be very beneficial. And I'm available at any time to do that. I'm exploring some other options. I think, as I said, if we get through the finance recommendations, then sometime down the way, I think that you need to do some goal setting. And by goal setting, and some of you, I mentioned this individually. I met with each of you. I had some notes, and we need to have, and the way I've done it is to do that with your department directors so that you're on the same page. And then a reminder about everybody taking their open meetings deal. That's just a friendly reminder. And by the way, I'm available, and I have been available 24 hours, 7 days a week. You can text, call me, and I will continue to try to reach out to you individually. Sometimes when I can. Sometimes I know Tim. It always seems I'm driving home when he's, you know. You always answer. Yeah, you always answer. So I did that with everybody this time, and I will continue to do stuff in writing ahead of time. And that concludes my report, unless you have any questions of me.
No, thank you, Jeff. And again, I want to emphasize the questions that I'm asking you here tonight about why aren't we doing this yet and why aren't we doing that yet. That's not a question that I'm the only one within our municipality is asking. You know, it's what some of the people that voted for us are asking as well. You know, I haven't heard any complaints about you or about Brad. Matter of fact, I've heard good things. But again, we need to have a plan, like you said.
Yeah.
and what do we want in the city manager to move forward. But I think we need to start getting to that point where we're.
And I need a little bit of assistance. I don't know if you do that in executive or you do that publicly, but I need a little direction on that. But I think, next week might, it's kind of an open week. Maybe that's the time that we do that.
You're in Chicago next week? Let's do a work session while I was in Chicago.
I'll dial in.
I swear to God, I will. Jesus. At 4:30.
I called in from Malaysia.
Yeah.
I will call in.
That's it. Oh, and then I added Brad, and I just want to compliment Brad. Brad's a good manager. He's got that skill, and he's really doing everything. I was doing a very good job of managing, and particularly, I want to comment on the other things. We've made some changes to try to be more customer friendly with our staff here at City Hall, and we're going to look at some telephone changes, and then one of the things that we've talked about, and Brad has initiated, is responding to Facebook questions. Ultimately, we'd like to use our webpage, but if you hadn't did you see the deal with Jackson on Facebook about the fish? It's a real great story, and there should be more of that, because a great community, a lot of talented people, and we need to actuate the positive. Brad?
Yeah, I've got a couple things. One thing is, as you can tell with our new Cape Seal, we need, and Tim mentioned it earlier in the work session, we need to get striking for that. And myself, I think we ought to purchase our own striking machine that we can do the striking ourselves. I looked through our last bid of a job that we bid out. They came in, they did a little bit over 6 blocks for almost $6,000, or a little bit over $6,000. With the amount of blocks that we are going to do, I feel it is variable that we get our own striking machine that our staff can do. We did find one. We have 3 bids, same machine. It has 3 guns. It's got a laser guide, so basically everything we're going to need. 2 tanks, a white and a yellow. It comes at $38,000 is what the lowest bid is, and it's actually local, so that helps out a lot.
Is that used?
No.
It's new?
You could look for used, but most of your used ones are not going.
No, that just seemed low for used.
Yeah. There's one for 42 and one
for new.
Both on 42,000 for the other bid, so 38,000 was the lowest. It's got 3 guns with a laser guide, hydraulic airless line strike. So I really feel like that would put a pop in our town with national, all the black Cape Seal. It's just something I feel we really need.
Now, can we use this for the parking lines and for crosswalks and other things as well?
Yes. And that, with what I'll talk about here in a second, I think it's going to be something very important for us to do, is the parking lots and parking spots. I talked to Craig Campbell, who does a lot of our crosswalks, and he likes doing it by hand, but this will do it. But if he likes doing it by hand and he's volunteering, I'm not going to argue with him.
Will it work on bricks?
Yes, it would. Yes, it would do it on bricks. I asked that same question. But yeah, it's something that I feel we really need, because you can't bid out for that.
Where's the money coming from?
It come out of street.
Out of streets.
I'd ask for a motion for that.
what's the lead time?
That's the unfortunate part. We can get it around December to January. That's the unfortunate part, but that's the best we can do.
Do we know financially within the street funds, do we have the $38,000 to make this purchase? Okay.
We all planned on striping the Cape Seal things anyways, didn't
Yes, it
Yes,
was.
we had originally.
Yep.
And it's not coming out of reserves or anywhere else. It's coming out of the street fund. All right.
And I believe there was supposed to be somewhere around 27,000 to do all the striping for this project anyway. So
I would have thought it would have been more than that if we were paying 6,000
Well,
for
we
6
only-
blocks, and we
yeah,
did
we only
50
did-
blocks.
yeah, we only did about
Or we're not striping all 50.
Well,
we weren't striping all 50. Some of the roads we weren't.
who's the low bid?
Sherwin-Williams.
Sherwin-Williams. Okay. Well, I would move to accept the low bid of $38,000 to buy the street striping machine from Sherwin-Williams.
I'll second.
On a side note, there's nothing prettier than nice
striped
paint.
streets. Yes.
You can really spruce up a town with paint. It's true. I love paint. I love paint.
Well, the Cape Seal looks so nice, but I've had people that say, "You guys ever going to stripe it?"
Yeah.
It's tough. It's tough in the rain. I mean, it
Yeah.
really- it's a glare off of it.
Yeah.
Which we probably don't want to stripe because they're coming back in March, April, right?
Well, we're not
Yeah.
getting it till December, though.
Right. No, I
so-
just meant.
We'll recheck. What we'll check for is any delaminations or spots
I
where
know
this-
there's a hole that's
Cape Seal
developed
didn't
on East National and Margrave right there on the
Hmm.
turn. So
Yeah. So any of those spots, we just need to.
Yes, I've talked to Chad
Mhm.
about that one. I talked to him and he said they'll be back over.
Okay.
They've got another job close to Goddard right now.
Okay. And there was one on 6th Street over. I don't know if it was Eddie.
I told him I'd like to go. for a
Couple
ride with
spots.
him
Yep.
When he gets here to just go through it and that, I've looked at it and there looks like there's other spots, but that might be what it's, maybe that's okay. I don't know. So once he gets here, I'll go for a ride with him so he can explain to
Yeah.
me if it's good or it's not.
I mean, for overall, it looks very, very good. There's just a few small spots.
Okay, Josh Jones.
yes.
Tim Van Hooky.
Yes.
Matthew Wells.
Yes.
Katie Harrington.
I abstain.
Abstain.
Yep.
So,
Spend money
few
like
other-
it's water.
Few other things, citizens communication. Last week I made a post on social media about issues. Basically just reached out to citizens to write me emails if they see issues. It's potholes, any type of road problem, bricks, manhole covers being off, water leak, whatever. And so far in the last week, we've had over 30 emails, 30 citizens reached out. We've completed, or we're working on about a third of these issues. Some of them are gonna be on our hit list for the winter time if they're a bigger brick job. But, I appreciate the citizens doing this. I'd rather find out the problems this way than other ways. And I'll post again this week to make sure they understand what my email is so we can get that. It's been a good deal.
Brad, may I ask you a question real quick? I know at one time we were looking at Dude Solutions, and where do we stand with that, or Clip It, or any of that stuff?
Dude Solutions is not a mobile
Okay.
deal, so we are actually going to look at a Google Forms
Okay.
type system. It's free, and you can put it on your website, and it also go right to whatever emails you want it to. So we're working into getting that. We can do that internally.
And the Dude Solutions was the replacement for C-Click Fix, right?
That was my understanding,
Yeah.
yes. Yep.
Working on parking downtown. I think I mentioned it to you in an email last night. Looking at the south side of Wall Street, going angle parking instead of parallel parking, just on this side. That should open up 20 to 25 additional parking spots to downtown. We're also looking at additional handicap parking spots on the corners down here by the apartments, because unlike what we heard earlier, we do care about those tenants. And, you know, instead of making them park in a different parking spot, let's give them a spot close to the building that they can park and not be in a 2-hour parking spot. Yep. And with a handicap parking spot, we cannot give them a ticket in that spot if they have the placard.
I don't think we can give them a ticket anyways in a 2-hour parking spot, even if it's not labeled handicap.
Not sure.
So
Well, we just raised the fine to 60
I know,
bucks.
but I believe if I remember right, handicapped people are not subject.
Yeah,
to,
they can park for.
Right.
The lagoon sludge removal, that is, this morning the smell told us that it was still there. So we were having internet issues down at the plant. I talked to Bo this morning from AMS. That is resolved. They started making what they call microbacteria. So within 48 hours, they will be dumping the first load of those into the lagoon. So I'll do a Facebook Live or something from down there so everybody can see what's going on. You won't see the microbes, but you'll get the gist of it. And the last thing I wanted to talk about was, you know, we talk about communication. I really feel communication is a key to really promote the good things that we have going on, but we also have to face back that we have to show some bad things too. So we're going to start doing, I'm working with Jackson Tuff, the tourism director, to do YouTube videos, you know, different things. I wrote this to you last night. You know, one of our topics is going to be how to read a water bill. You know, there's a lot of questions on what's this code stand for? What's this code stand for? I have to admit, I didn't know until about a week ago what these codes stood for. So I'm just as guilty. But we're going to do a YouTube video on how to read that. Where does our water come from? That's been a huge topic lately, because somebody said that the water tastes bad because of the sludge. Well, I hate to say it, but if you're getting water that tastes like the sludge, you're getting it the wrong place, because that's not where it comes from. So, video about where our water comes from, because it is important to know why we have to take water from Rock Creek, why we have to take water from Cedar Creek, the lake, and things like that. That's where our water comes from. Sludge removal, Cooper Street. Another one might be bricklaying 101, just to explain, you know, what it takes to lay bricks. But also meet the staff. I think that's important to where everybody sees who works for the city. So if you see them in your yard, you'll know who it is. But I just think communication's key to our citizens, to us, and I really feel that's the way we're going to get through a lot of things that we've got going on. And that is all I've got. If you have questions, I'm willing to answer. No, thanks, Brad, for all your hard work. I mean, especially the Facebook responses and stuff like that. It is make a difference. I've heard some positive comments that they really enjoy somebody from City Hall responding to some of the stuff that pops up out there. So thank you.
Brad, one of the other suggestions that had been made along with those handicap parkings was the possibility of putting a loading, unloading zone in front of the apartment buildings that would be like a 15-minute loading, unloading zone. what's the possibility of us doing something like that for those people as well?
As long as it's legal, I don't see a problem.
The reason behind it was they said, a lot of them load groceries, they have kids, and so just they wouldn't mind parking over there.
I did find out, there's a lot of questions, and like I said earlier, Rachel, the manager of the lofts, she's been great to work with. I've talked to her a few times now, and, I felt our relationship was, we were able to talk and have good communication. And I did ask her about the side door, because that was a big question is, why don't they unlock the side door? That side door is an actual apartment. One of the nicest apartments in that building, in the north building.
Okay.
So that's not an actual entry into the building, it's an actual entrance into an apartment.
What about the one on the alley?
The alley is an entryway.
Okay.
Can't do that. Personally, I think we need to do a little bit more work to that parking lot, by Margot's.
Okay.
To make it where it's safe to walk on. I mean, there's the rocks there, but it's uneven. We'll do some more work on that the next week or so, try to get that looking nicer.
But did Rachel say that she would be willing to have that door be an entrance and exit to the back? Yes.
Sorry, it is.
Okay. And so the people currently could go in and out of that door.
That's what she said.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah, but the unloading and loading, I'd say just a sign or two.
Okay.
Any other comments? Jason? Engineer comments?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor, Commissioners. Just a quick run through of current projects. The CDBG sanitary sewer project. We had our surveyor out there again last couple weeks, picking up the rest of the shots that we needed. So we're continuing putting plans together so we can send the lines that we're upsizing, have to go to the state for approval. So we'll have plans for that, along with all the rehab part of it. So hopefully that'll be in the next few weeks. We're moving forward with Horton and 6th Street, the cost share project. The latest update on that, you start looking at costs. We did that. The latest cost estimate's already over a year old. So just like everything else we were looking at, anything that's old, now we're worried that the funding is going to cover it. So I think we talked with staff about, originally we were going to do an 8-foot sidewalk on the south side of 6th Street. To save costs, we're going to change that back to a 5-foot standard sidewalk and do bike lanes on 6th Street, just like Horton Street. So there'll be striped bike lanes on the street. So that's updated, and I talked to Kate out about that, and it's fine. So we're hoping that keeps the cost what we expected it to be. 17th and Eddy drainage, they're getting really close to the finish line, but now the change order with the ditch on Crawford, they run into a gas line, so we're waiting on the gas company to come up with a plan to relocate that.
Jason, on that project, have you been in contact with them?
Yeah.
Could you have them clean up the church's parking lot as best as they can, to where maybe the church
Use it a little bit.
could use it, because they've basically been out of a parking lot since that project started. And they've been very good about it. They haven't. I've got one email, but it was nice. But I feel like if it's getting that close to being done, they could throw away the wool whistles and things like that.
And I'll look, I think they poured part of the parking along the side of the church. So some of that's back soon, and that last piece is being cured. So it'll probably all hit at once, but I will let them know. Next project, the South Industrial Park water line. That's at the state for review now. Tim's favorite, the Memorial Hall steps. I sent the plans that I scanned. I think I copied Brad and Jeff. and I sent them to that contractor.
Two bids.
Okay.
I need to talk to you about what I need to do to make it official.
Okay.
But yeah, we need to look at how we can get that completed fast.
Okay, I'll get with you.
Thank you.
Almost there. I think Brad pretty well covered the stuff at the treatment plant, so that's ongoing. The newest thing is the KDOT C-CLIP award for Wall Street. I just want to know. Well, I don't want to know. Because of the type of program that is, you have to do, I think you mentioned qualifications-based selection. So any help you need on that, just let me know. Which I think I've already told you, but just keep that in mind. I know it'll be a competitive bid type thing, just like what you like. So, pending any questions, that's all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Josh, you have anything?
Real quick, I was talking to Jim Harris about having another city county meeting, a luncheon or whatever. I didn't know if you guys were on board, if we could schedule one of those. Lisa or Brad or Jeff, get one of those scheduled, get with those guys. Christmas in the Park, there's a group of us doing it again this year, and it's December 10th. So I forgot to ask last meeting about closing the park down that day. Probably 7 in the morning till it's over. December 10th, yeah.
Do we?
Yeah. Well, if there's campers down there, there won't be. We need the roads closed down. So I think last time there was one camper down there because Jeremy had him down there the whole time. So he just came and walked around. So we just need the park closed off, the roads closed off.
We will be shutting water off middle of November.
Yeah, last year we had in porta potties. So I guess I need to make a motion to do that December 10th to close down the park for Christmas in the Park, starting at 7 a.m.
Is it just one weekend?
Yeah, it's just one weekend.
Okay. I thought it was.
It
couple
was
weekends.
last year was the
row.
first year we went to 2, and really the second. We do free chili one weekend, other way right, and so and the free chili brings out a lot more people than the other weekend. So we're gonna go back to 1 and keep it simpler. I think Bourbon County Revival will be down there, live nativity scene again, free chili, free hot cocoa again. So
Fire department. Police
Yep.
department.
yeah, police and fire will do that. Travis's and
I think,
Dave's famous
Travis,
chili.
I think you have people to decorate your building this year. So.
Yeah, so so that's my motion to close that down for December 10th.
And there's no changes to last year other than it's one weekend instead of 2.
Yeah, we'll leave the lights up.
I'll second the motion.
It's one weekend or one
Or
day?
just one day, Saturday.
day,
Yep,
okay.
yep.
December 10th.
December 10th.
Josh Jones,
Yes.
Tim Van Hookie,
Yes.
Matthew Wells,
Yes.
Katie Harrington.
Yes.
Keep
I hate
saying
these
it.
add-ons.
I know, I forgot.
Add-ons.
I didn't want to do
Y'all
it
are
again.
killing me.
The only thing is, like we talked in the work session, the streets, getting a list. But if you can get the golf course, the parks, the streets, to kind of get a winter list, so we can kind of let people know what they're going to do through the next few months, and maybe every quarter if we can get something, just kind of a rundown of what the main departments like that. I know the golf course, if they're going to fix any of the paths or anything, or
We have project trackers. Each department gave me their projects for the winter months and a few months after. So we will be able to have timelines put on this.
yeah, you can just send them out to us.
Pictures and stuff like that.
And that's all I got.
Tim Van Hookie.
Yeah, first of all, thanks to all the downtown folks that put on the Halloween parade this year. we set up a table for Rotary and was giving out candy, and we had 1,000 pieces and ran out of candy right at the end of it. So there was a ton of kids. Travis, thanks to your guys for the crowd control and stuff like that out there to keep everybody safe through that. Other than that, I mean, I think we need to get some direction on, we had another commissioner resign, and we've got until the next meeting to replace that person. I don't know if that's something we're going to discuss in executive session, but I don't think we can, and we need to direct Lisa. Does she put a notice out to the public to fill that position? Well, we actually have an ordinance for it that says within X number, it says 10 days or the next meeting.
10 days from.
10 days or the next meeting from the date of his resignation.
Okay. Do we have to accept it? I mean, do we? I know in the past we've
No,
always.
no, you don't have to. You can't. My advice is to always accept it because it's just clean, but you don't have to.
And Josh is accepting.
No, he just smiles. But you have, of course, the public doesn't know because it just came today. Commissioner Walker submitted a written resignation indicating that it was effective immediately. Period. So it's effective today because it came today that the clerk received. So you've got 10 days of the next commission to replace.
I
So
think the way it reads is 10 days or the next regularly scheduled meeting.
right, that's what I
So,
said.
yeah.
And but you need to
Which would
direct.
have been today.
You need, well, technically, but you need to direct Lisa to start.
So we'll have to have a meeting.
No, you can
No.
do it at your next meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The appointment.
Yeah.
So what we need is in the past was Diane would put a notice out on Facebook. And since we've had a few this year, you ought to be able to just scroll down the page and find the verbiage on there, unfortunately. Saying
that's
anyone
sad.
that's interested needs to submit their letter of interest and any letters of recommendation to your attention at City Hall.
And if you reach out to the radio station as well, they have their public notice or whatever.
So, I mean, personally, I enjoyed my time working with Commissioner Walker here. He's got some personal things going on and in his job. And again, it's another person that I think had the best interest of the city at heart. But I think if someone like him feels like he's not giving 100% because of distractions, that he's going to step aside. So thank you to Shane Walker for his contributions. But I mean, is the commission okay with directing Lisa to put the notification out there?
Yeah, I mean, I think after the ordinance, that's.
Yeah. So.
When do we want those to be?
Well, I would say if we could get them, like, if the meeting's on a Tuesday, I would give them till the Friday before the meeting.
I'd say by noon.
Noon on
The Friday before.
noon of the Friday before.
That way you can put, or 11 the Friday before. That way you can make sure it's in the packet by noon. Is that what it is?
Yeah, noon is.
Yeah.
Or noon. So yeah, noon. Sorry.
Oh no, we've been through that several times.
I'm sad to say they're real familiar.
But anyway, thank you, Lisa, and again, thank you to Commissioner Walker. And other than that, it's Brad. I did want to make a point of thanking you again for the positive feedback that we're getting on your efforts and Jeff's to help us move forward. So that's all I got.
Matthew.
Just a few things, Madam Mayor. First off, attached to the city manager reports, you would have noticed that I met with Chief Shelton and made a few small changes to our current truck route ordinance. This will give the officers the ability to enforce things right now while the street advisory board digs into the larger question of our truck routes, as well as I believe the city manager applied for and got a grant where KDOT will be coming down and sending an engineer to help us designate and redesign our truck routes. But in the interim, we need to still do what we can do to protect our streets. These were very small, minor changes. So basically, I eliminated streets that are no longer there, eliminated the run that was on Margrave from Wall to Third, and then changed the fine from $25 to $125 plus court cost.
So the existing ordinances have not been changed yet within the municipal ordinances that are online right now.
Correct.
So we should be able to look at the ones that you provided us and go online and look at them to see what the minor changes were.
Yes. Or I'll be happy to sit down with you and show you exactly what I changed as well.
And then when are we expecting, what is the TEAP grant to review these truck routes? When are we expecting those folks to come down?
What they do is they do their own request for qualifications and get an engineer to do it, and they meet with us, but and then they'll approve the grant. But El Dorado Springs have been interesting. I know one of the biggest deals was GPS. For those, whoever the delivery guy goes delivers it, and then they follow it out, and it takes them off.
Yeah.
So there's a way to do that, but it may take 6 months for that study to be done.
Okay.
I plan to give your information to the street. They meet next Thursday. We'll put that in the packet for them, so that they're aware of what's going on.
I'm sorry, I missed the first part.
Street advertising.
Basically,
The other thing, we'll look at that list.
the list of streets.
Yeah.
Yep. So this is just a temporary thing so that our police force can go ahead and enforce the ordinance that's on the books right now in the interim period while we wait for all this other work to be done. So I believe Travis was going to check with the street department, find out if we needed to order new signs. What do you know about that?
Yes, Jerry and I drove the truck routes and yesterday and identified some areas where signage would be helpful. That way everybody's on a square playing field, not a lot. We also drove some of the suggested routes additionally that we talked about.
Yeah, I want to review that simply because I want to make sure there's not an impact to downtown businesses that need to get deliveries from their suppliers and not have to lug stuff
I
2
didn't
or
see it
3
on here,
blocks.
but I read somewhere, maybe it was online. Does it currently state they can veer off the truck routes to make?
The way the ordinance is that's on the book is written, and the ordinance that's on the book is very thorough. It's a very good ordinance. We really don't need to make any major changes to it. It's been working for a long time. We just need to enforce it. And it specifically says that all businesses and all deliveries can veer from the closest point of exit from the truck route to their delivery point and then back to the truck route. So this in no way, zero effect on deliveries to businesses downtown or anywhere else in town. It's simply asking that they use the truck route to the closest point, then drive to their delivery and then back to the truck route. So, for instance, if somebody was making a delivery down here at Common Ground, as an example, they could drive from 54 Highway to Common Ground, make their delivery, then they need to go back to the highway if they have a delivery on the other end of town, drive down 69 Highway, and then exit back off to make their delivery. What we have a problem with right now is that one company will make a delivery here, and then they will turn and drive down National to make their deliveries at the other end of town instead of going back out to the highway. So these are the things that we want to try to address right now in the interim. Again, I want to reiterate, zero effect on deliveries anywhere in town because of the way the ordinance is already written.
And there are some things on there and you all need to look at it. But the garbage
it said garbage trucks and something else under 36,000
Yeah.
did not have to, they're not subject to truck routes.
Correct. For the time being, as a temporary fix, again, what I had written in here after talking with the local trash companies was a provision that allows them to continue to operate their trucks until this study is done, until the street advisory board. So we were going to limit it at the heaviest of our local trash trucks. Now, this would affect a couple of the out-of-town trash companies, but I have already checked with them, and they do have smaller trucks. We will just have to ask them to use their smaller trucks when they come to Fort Scott. That's okay. I've contacted them to find out that they do have the smaller trucks. That's all. I just verified that they already have those trucks in their workforce. Both of them, yes. That's all I verified, was that they do have the trucks, so they won't have to buy any additional trucks. They'll just have to send those trucks to us from now on. And I've included a provision to, and that's also a state provision as well, by the way, but I did put it in this ordinance just so it's clear that school buses and trash trucks under the 38,000 GVW are not subject to the truck routes right now. Then the other change I made was, like I said, eliminating the streets that we don't have and removing Margrave from Wall to Third. And then I changed the ordinance as far as the fee, $125 up to and including $500 per violation and court cost. So originally it only said $25 was the fine, but that was back in 1970 something when 25 was a lot of money. So we felt like we'd raise that up a little.
What can be done, would it have to go through KDOT to put signs up for cattle trailers coming in? Because the other day I was driving by Aunt Tody's and I thought, I'm just gonna punch in Fort Scott Cell Barn, and it tells you to go up Wall Street, take a right on National. When we go to our angle parking lot there, that could pose a problem.
Well, and that is not a truck route, coupled with the fact that the bridge down there that they're crossing to then go to the cell barn is not rated.
But if I'm
Right.
real low from
Nevada,
St. Louis,
Yep.
St. Louis, Missouri coming in, I don't know this.
No, and
I'm
that's
going by this.
right.
That's how they do it. So, as a courtesy, as a city employee wanting to bring in tourism, bring in people to Fort Scott, it would be good if we could put signs up
Yes.
at the junction of 54 and 69 that says
Excellent.
Cell
Yes.
Barn this way, and then at the off ramp, Cell Barn this way to help them out.
I think that would be an excellent idea.
Something we have to do for KDOT, or could we do that?
I am not sure. I believe there, because there are streets, we can put any signage up that we want. The one on the highway.
Well, we don't have to on most. The way the KDOT told us was they're your streets. You can do whatever you want with them.
On the highway, we can't.
Right. Yeah.
And we could ask KDOT if they'll put a sign up. We can ask them anyway. But what we can also do is we could, as the city, reach out to the Martins and ask them to start making an announcement every week for the next several weeks. Because that other bridge out there that comes off of 54, that one is rated for up to, I think, 40 tons. The one that comes across the Marmaton River out there. So that's perfectly acceptable for them to come in there and then follow the old original route. Coming down Wall Street and turning down National was never a truck route, and I don't know.
Driver driving cattle, I wouldn't want to get a ticket.
Right.
If I'm following GPS.
Right.
So
can we, well, and that would be another thing that we might want to look at is who do we reach out to correct the GPS? Is that do we make a phone call to Google? Do we make
I might have Bill Gates' number on here somewhere. I don't know.
I doubt Bill could help us with that.
Okay. Well, if you don't mind, I can reach out to The guy that just resigned as mayor, I'm pretty good friends with over there. So,
I've got the engineer.
okay.
I mean,
Because I know when you need a business registered with Google, you get online, you type the thing in, take a photograph of the front of your business, you verify the address, and they'll log you up and load it. So I would think it would be something fairly simple. Again, I have not dealt with Google Maps, so I cannot verify that. I'm just running through the logical steps. One other item I was going to ask Brad or Jeff if you would reach out to the county and just ask them politely if Eric Bailey could have a talk with the guys to make sure that they're using the highway instead of taking the quicker route down Horton. I know that's very convenient for them, and I don't want to make them have to do a lot of extra work, but I think maybe we just ask nicely, they'll very willingly not drive that, and then we can do the same for our guys. Just that's true, and we could also just remind our city drivers to please use the highway. Just be that example setter for everybody else in town moving forward. But if you will, please take a look at that. I would like us to vote on that at the next meeting so that we can move forward with that. As the town of a whole, I want to congratulate everybody on a great job with the Halloween holiday. All the kids that I saw had a great time. It was a beautiful weekend, and the kids just were safe. I didn't hear of any bad things happening, so the whole town can take a hand in congratulating themselves for doing a good job. As far as Memorial Auditorium, you already commented on the steps. I did want to follow up with what we talked about with the genealogy department. Have we looked further into what we're going to do for them?
You were going to talk to.
I've talked with a few people. I just wanted to know about opening up that wallway and demoing all that stuff in there. Is that?
I would say before we did it,
Mhm.
I'd feel better getting maybe Jason or one of his
To take a look at everything?
to look at to make sure we're not tearing something down.
Okay.
That may make worse problems.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Like
sir.
a load-bearing wall?
Yeah.
I don't think it is.
Right.
Like we looked, I don't think it is. But so I just don't know. Just want to make sure we're making good decisions
Yes, sir.
before we do it.
Yes, sir.
And is there other options? That's all I'm looking at. Would it be better to move them somewhere internally there where we don't have to tear walls down because of what the building is? So I think we need to get some other opinions in there. I feel better about it.
Yes, sir. I like that. So, one of the other items that had come up at town hall meeting that Josh and I did was about the text blast, and I know we've kind of talked about that. Has anyone had the opportunity to reach out to the school system on that?
Buck Run actually uses it.
Okay.
For their sporting events. I talked to them, and we'll we'll try to piggyback off their subscription and do what we can do there.
Awesome. Thank you, Brad. I appreciate that. And then the last thing I wanted to report on was the T-Mobile grant. We had a meeting last Monday that I thought was extremely successful. We identified an area that everyone could agree on. We came up with a plan of attack for moving forward. I've been able to reach out and get a design. One question that I had as far as if we go out for an RFP or whatever on this, do we need the engineer to draw up a design, or can we use a design provided by someone else?
First of all, I don't know what you came up with, but it needs to be looked at by the historic or the
Design review board, yes.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
I don't know what you're talking about, or the cost of work. I don't know what you're talking about. If we needed engineers to design that or not, but yes, we could do an RFP on an engineer.
Yeah, I don't know if
My opinion, go design and review board first, because they shut you down, there's no need to waste time more
Mhm.
money having an engineer look at it.
Mhm.
So I would get their opinions on it first, and then if they give you approval, then you go the next step and get the engineers involved. I think they're gonna have some questions.
Here's the only thing that I don't know if we need an engineer involved first, but we do. I think before the design review board, we probably do need to get a cost so we know exactly what we're going to do.
I have a cost. I have two different costs on the materials.
Okay, I do you and
Yeah, I've reached out to a couple different companies and had them draw up some plans.
Yeah, and where's the placement?
The placement right now, currently, that the board agreed on is to put it across the parking lot down here behind the Lynette Blair building. So cover that entire parking lot. It would create a structure that is 70 foot wide by, I believe, 160 some feet long.
15 foot tall. Basically, that
Yes.
parking lot where they can still,
Yeah.
you can pull underneath for campers even. So,
Mhm.
There's original plan.
yep.
Yes.
In the grass over there, and
However, when we were looking at that space, we were limiting the amount of room, and then the suggestion was made that if we covered that parking lot, then they could all pull their vehicles in there. We created 26 additional stalls that way.
Well, one concern was the plan that I had seen here a few weeks back was right in the middle of Scubitz Plaza and literally blocked the view of the fort from
Yeah.
Main Street.
And after discussion with the board and with park personnel,
I know that
and
the
everyone,
park was not happy about
No.
that design.
Right. The decision right now by the board that's been put together is to move it back to its original location where the grant was originally written to put it.
yeah, it was in the grass earlier.
Right.
But we thought we could make the pavilion bigger, put it over, not do concrete. And Carl's been a part of it. The park's been a part of it.
Yeah.
So this suggestion, right? You got a sketch plan.
Mm-hmm.
There's some other things that people are talking about too.
Yes.
Merch.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So then I will meet with the design review board and present them kind of what we're looking at for right now. So
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
if I would suggest the group then put together, see the price and everything
Mhm.
first. I think there's like a group of 10.
No, this is they'll have their own money.
Well, it's a matching grant.
It's a matching grant. We have 50,000 from the T-Mobile grant, and then I believe the city had agreed to put up 50,000, but there will be some discussions that will have to be made because we just have to take a look at everything. I just wanted to report back to the commission what we had done, talked about with the board, and where we were moving forward.
Yeah, and just real quick on, I think it'd be set up for more than just farmers market.
Mhm.
Be a nice spot to put concerts.
Well, they can use it for good old days.
good old days instead of having a big yes.
Yeah. I would make sure we go back and look though, because I don't recall, unless it was last year sometime, that we voted on and approved matching the 50,000 out of city funds.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go back.
That
and-
would have been
and
the
look.
previous commission, I believe.
Done
was a
before.
previous.
Yeah. Yep. Okay.
And again, I would like to thank Commissioner Walker for all of his hard work. He did a lot to help us through the budget session, and I appreciated everything that he did.
I'm gonna piggyback on that. Shane's gonna be missed, and he was doing great work. I understand him stepping away, though. I'm also going to thank Susan for all of her hard work and everything for the many years working with the budget. She's done an incredible job. Hate to see her go too. One last thing: the Mistletoe Market is supposed to be this Thursday. Will be at Buck Run instead of where it was previously. So that is all I have. Oh, happy Halloween to
Yep.
everyone! It was great.
Ken, I forgot one thing.
Yeah.
If the commission's okay with it, I would like to ask Jeff for our next meeting. I'd like to get kind of an update from economic development and tourism. I see Rob's back there. It's been a few months since you guys have been in. I think the last thing we got was Jackson's agritourism video. So if we can put that on the agenda, we'd love to hear what's going on for economic development. I'm getting a lot of questions from folks that say, I think so. And it'd have to be, just a few minutes, just kind of a general update for us. If you guys have some slides you want to put up there or something.
He won't be available.
Okay, so then the first one in December then. Okay, and you and Jackson? Okay. Yeah, and tell him too, I don't want him showing up here and just throwing his Palm Springs pictures up there, because no one wants to see him in shorts. But anyway. But I mean, you guys good with that? Getting an update from them?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And Jeff, if we can get that added to the agenda, please, that would be wonderful. I'm sorry about that. I forgot about that and had it written down. I think you.
Yep. I'm going to move the city commission recess in executive session for the purpose of personnel matters. The personnel matters with non-elected personnel, an exception, KSA 754319B1. In the first part of it, I need the 5 commissioners, the city attorney, Jeff and Brad, and then the second part will just be the 5 commissioners. And it will open meeting. We're resuming here, and probably just 15 minutes. That's all I need.
So we'll meet back here at 8:15 in this room.
8:11.
8:11.
By my room.
We have a second.
Second.
Josh Jones,
Yes.
Tim Van Hook.
Yes.